or if they keep trying to hammer the pressure, whether it's for a product or a business opportunity, regardless of the industry. It don't have to be WFG. It could be a MyWFG is a website for associates to log in to their dashboard and see how their business is doing. But what happens when somebody leaves a Reddit post about going to convention and it not turning out too well? Maybe a little disastrous. Well, I'm going to cover that today, so without further ado, let's get into it. So this is titled, as you can see here, it says, went to an MLM convention over the weekend, WFG. And this is in the anti-MLM thread, so it's going to be interesting. So let's see what they had to say. A link of this post will be in the description below, so you can kind of check out all the comments and stuff too. They said, my parents made me go, so I went. There were thousands of people attending. Most were minorities, a lot of Vietnamese refugees / immigrants or descendants of refugees / immigrants or their families. Okay, so I have a visual picture here. It was really boring, hours of saying the same things over and over. I spent a lot of time on my laptop writing and listening to music because I really wasn't going to sit through all that. But from what I did notice, it was just a whole bunch of believe and you'll be successful. So visualization, mindset stuff, okay? And you will be super rich. And choose WFG over everything else, etc., etc. They're using a lot of quotations, so that you see a lot of MLM saying. So WFG does operate like an MLM business model, but for the financial services industry. So, well, let's continue reading here. They said, I got some pictures which I might post. They were of some of the charts that were presented. The charts talked about how you should never give up on WFG. Some examples, even when people online tell you it's a scam. There's a lot of that, right? I've done some videos on it. You've probably seen them. Trying to help people's perspective when they're open, and specifically open to reason, okay? Then they say, even after you have no more money left, even if your brother blocks you and doesn't contact you ever again. Well, first of all, if you don't have any money, then first of all, you need to be focused on an emergency fund, then you need to be focused on a savings account, getting money in there, and then you need to be thinking about retirement. So pretty much in that order. And then if your brother blocks you, maybe because you were hard selling or pressure selling and not understanding needs, goals, and assessing for fit, so that some more sales training, Jordan Belfort, highly recommend, that would be necessary. So let's continue reading here. He says, even if your family stops talking to you, okay. All right, so either they have an anti-MLM mindset or the person went a little too hard or pressure-y with the sales approach. And then they say, even when you get no results after months of work. All right, I mean, that's business. Sometimes businesses take a loss for 3 to 5 or more years so they can turn a profit after that period of time because they didn't give up. That's with any business, okay? And a lot of businesses go out of business. And that's not just MLMs or network marketing. That's corporations, franchise, mom and pops. All right, here we go. Every time they listed off one of these, the crowd laughed. It was really scary how cultish everything was. Well, everyone is going to have more of a groupthink mentality, and they're there for one reason, which is to learn more about WFG or Transamerica, and so that makes sense. No different than when somebody goes to a gaming convention or a consumer electronics show or a car show, or everyone's going to be thinking about a certain thing. And even if you have family reunions, everybody's going to be thinking very similar because everyone's of the same bloodline, right? So, or at least they've been ushered in through marriages and stuff. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. People are going to have groupthink when you go to events because they're at the events. Not all the time, though. There's exceptions, obviously, but he's pointing out how everyone else was. And then they go on to say, there was a chart about heart versus mind, about how you should choose your heart, saying you should continue WFG, against your mind, saying it's too hard, too expensive, too tiring, etc. All right, they had some successful members of WFG on stage to tell their stories about how it changed their life. One story was particularly sad. Okay. The woman talked about how she was at the lowest point with her family member suffering from cancer. She said it was then she was given the opportunity to join WFG. The family member died and she didn't say anything else, just that she joined WFG. I wonder if emotionally vulnerable people are the most likely to be targeted for recruiting. Well, just because you are targeted with a business opportunity, then it also then comes into personal responsibility and having the discernment to recognize if something is, again, understanding your needs, goals, and fit for that particular opportunity. I didn't have the skill set when I got hard sold a few years ago by a couple different companies. Now I do, and so it's so important to like know how you can communicate on both the prospect or potential customer end as well as an associate or a salesperson perspective. That's key, and it's having the skills on both ends and not stopping the personal development exercise. You know, going on vacations are great, you know, watching Netflix is cool, eating out at restaurants and food's cool, but how much personal development are you actually dedicating so we can handle situations with discernment, handle situations with wisdom, and look at both sides objectively, pros, cons, and come to accurate conclusions about stuff. I mean, it's okay to have your own opinion, root for your home team, but at the same time, objectivity or being more objective is something to be valued. All right, here we go. Another woman said she had a PhD, but she wasn't getting any work, so she joined WFG. Again, nothing about how much money she was making or how she was doing, just that she was successful because she was no longer begging for work. And even if she would say an amount, you know, a lot of people that are anti-MLM say, well, that is such a small percent. You know, 1% of, you know, people that join MLM make money. But that also doesn't factor in how many people quit, okay? How many people are customers, and basically how many people are okay with making their amount because maybe it offers a certain quality of life or lifestyle that they want, or maybe there is some skills, you know, and more goals and effort involved to hit a higher rank, and sometimes that takes time because they didn't have the type of network that maybe somebody else had or other factors. So there's a lot of factors involved with income, even if a number is thrown out there that I think the anti-MLM community hears, but because of a predisposition, a very strong predisposition against MLMs, they're not able to, you know, like understand and appreciate that, I think. So just throwing that out there, and just for clarity, predisposition, you can kind of hear it in the word, but it's when you discount something in advance because it doesn't align with what you believe in. And that's basically the definition. And so we all have one. It's just to what degree, how often, and are we aware of it and honest of it, really. And so that's going to be key here. All right, so they go on to say, after the convention, my dad got upset at me because I didn't want to stay for the entire thing. He told me that he decided it would be better for him to dedicate 100 hours a week to WFG, wow, in order to reach the next rank of CEO. I think at some point I was able to laugh about how silly MLMs were and how it made everyone act, and sometimes I still do, but now I'm exhausted. The good thing about it was that it forced me into sitting in the same place with nothing else to do for 6 hours a day, so I managed to get some writing done. That's it, really. If you don't want to be there, I mean, I don't know how old this person was because they didn't say their age, but like if you feel like you're being forced to go to something that you don't want to, you should be able to, you know, speak up about that and be like, hey, I'm good. I mean, if their parents forced them, I mean, that's, unless they're under the age of 18, I'm not sure how that works, but anyways, being able to say you're not interested in something and not going, that's called just being honest, and it's not something that you value. So, I mean, there are some things that people don't want to go to, and then when they go to it, they're like, wow, I'm glad I went to it. That happens, but to go to something that you are not really open to and then do something else the whole time is totally, that's even like disrespectful to the speakers. Like you're on your laptop writing when somebody's talking, unless you're writing notes or taking notes. So I think this person, again, when people say stuff, they need to take personal responsibility. I was on my laptop while somebody was speaking and I wasn't taking notes. I didn't communicate that I didn't want to go. Again, I don't know their age, so you know, if they're under 18, you have less control over that, but, and especially when you're living in your parents' home. But if you're not, you got to be able to like say, I'm not here to people please. I'm not open to that. I'm not interested. And you're just going to have to not like me because I'm not going to it. Or you could say, let me try it out one time, see how it is. I'm going to put my laptop down, or I'm going to take notes and see, you know, what I think of it, take notes and all that good stuff, do my own research when I get back, and then I'll let you know whether it's something that I'm interested in the future of going to or not. That would be a little bit more open-minded, but not necessarily saying like I'm going to jump on the bandwagon or I'm not going to, you know, join it myself and start selling it. It's just more like I'm going in with an open mind, I'm going to take notes, and I'm going to do my research when I get back home. You know, that's it. Like, don't try to like hard sell me or do something. I'm going to let you know after that whether or not something I want to pursue or not, and it's up to you to respect that decision. And maybe if you're open, we can explore it in 6 months or 3 months or whenever. So again, communication skills is really key. Sales training, regardless of if you're even in sales. I think, you know, some people are like, oh, I don't want to, you know, do any sales training. Do sales training. because it helps you understand so much. Marketing training would help too. Lastly, they say, if you guys have any questions about it, go ahead and ask. And I don't know what else to put here, and I'm sure I'm missing something. Edit. Oh, I just realized why my mom was so obsessed with putting all the money I got from her work for my work or from my birthday into life insurance instead of just letting me keep it. And then there's the comment section down below. So again, all this will be in the link in the description below. Make sure to check that out. But only thing I kind of already said it, but if you don't want to go to something because you're not open to it, then it's important to communicate that. At the same time, I would challenge that person to say, let me just try it out once. Let me try to pay attention, take notes, and then do the research on the back end to see if it's something that I want to go forward with or not as a customer or as a business opportunity. And if it's neither, then it's being able to communicate that in a timely and respectful way to that person, and it's up to the other person to respect that. And I think that whole exchange doesn't happen very often. And that's why I'm just brutally honest but exceedingly kind whenever I see that it's not a fit for something that somebody's offering me. But I let them know, like, hey, I'm not interested, or hey, that I'm not in the market for that, or I'm not really open to that right now. And it's almost like seeing what they're going to say. If they're just like, oh, come on, it's not that big, come on. And if they start to pressure me, I might even call them out and be like, hey, I noticed that you're, pressuring me a little bit to come. Can you help me understand why? And then they'll be like, oh, I was just trying to, get you to come, or, it's really important for me. And I'm like, okay, well, I understand that, but I've already communicated I'm not interested or open to that right now, but maybe we can explore it in 3 to 6 months and go from there and see if I'm, in the market for that going forward. And then it's up to them to be like, okay, I respect that. Or if they keep trying to hammer the pressure, whether it's for a product or a business opportunity, regardless of the industry, it don't have to be WFG. It could be a car, it could be a house, it could be a cell phone, it could be anything, all right? Anything. But that's what I've challenged myself with, is how can I communicate respectfully, honestly, to people when it is or isn't a fit, so I can be the type of person that I want to be, right? The golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated. There's also a platinum rule, which is treat others the way they want to be treated. That's some next level stuff. You kind of need to seek understanding or be a mind reader for that a little bit, or a people whisperer, but it's possible, right? Just asking questions on what people prefer. But other than that, that concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button if you did. Hit subscribe for future video updates. And most importantly, check out the links in the description below so you can continue to get your learn on. And I'll see you in the next video.